All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Batty Overwatch League Season 2 Championship between Bone Zone and Sadistic Autistic. I'm AJ Zero, and holy shit, we're hopping right into the draft. It's me and Failed Destiny. You probably could have guessed that. We got knocked out early just for you guys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the finals. It should be an exciting series between these two teams, respectively first and second place as the season went on, and they beat everyone worse than them. So maybe a little bit predictable, but it should make for an exciting match regardless.
Yeah, I'm hoping both these teams show up tonight because I didn't. I thought Sadistic Autistic was a bit better in the regular season, but Bone Zone has been practicing a ton over the past, month and a half since the end of the regular season. And I'm not sure Sadistic has been practicing as much. So we might have seen the gap even up a bit here. And hopefully we get a good first map. We can kind of start to get a handle on where these teams are at.
Are you brave enough to make a cold call as to which team's gonna win the series?
Bone Zone 3-1.
Ooh. I'm
I'm
gonna
a
I'm
man,
gonna
dude.
call Sadistic Autistic 3-2.
Wow, dude, picking the favorite 3-2. What a brave prediction.
Hey, I think Bone Zone's going to provide some competition, but I think their ability to perform this season just won't be undermined. Um, you know what? I'll change it. 3-1. Bone Zone gets one game off of them. One map. Looks like we've got most of the bands taken out now. Oasis still isn't enabled, I believe. So we've got Hollywood, Numbani, and Eichenwald so far. And all of these maps are capture the first point and then deliver the payload. And it looks like Bone Zone's going to pick between Hollywood and Eichenwald based on what they ban here.
Yeah, this is I like this for the first map. These are my favorite maps in the game. This is my favorite game type in the game, and it's going to be Hollywood for this first map.
Which is a favorite, I think, amongst most of the teams, as it's been selected pretty often in all of these pick-ins, and even when it comes down to map choice. So I think what we'll be doing here next is checking to make sure all teams and all players are ready before we hop into the game, but we should be starting fairly quickly, I believe.
Yeah, normally teams get that ready check out of the way before the map draft, so hopefully that hasn't there hasn't been a status change in the last 2 minutes here.
Yeah. So
Although responding to that ready in all chat can be pretty tough for some of these teams.
typing is a skill that is learned. It's not one you're born with.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe you skipped that year elementary school, so you never took typing class, so you only know WASD controls, shift, the Overwatch movement controls. You don't. Maybe no one on Bone Zone. We're on the wrong map. Everyone, make sure you tweet your hate at Zeticus for that one. We are not playing Oasis. We are definitely playing Hollywood. I had a bad joke I was gonna make. I'm just gonna drop it.
Yeah, but now that we're actually heading to Hollywood, we should be able to get the game started. Uh, do you think the nerfs that hit with this patch are going to affect the strategy or priorities these teams have been making most of this season? We
I
have
wouldn't.
had a lot of Diva players and Roadhog players in the ready.
Yeah, if between these two teams, I think Bone Zone is much more likely to change things up based on the patch, just by nature of being 30's team, and that's also they've kind of shown they're more willing to adapt to consensus strength of heroes, whereas Sadistic Autistic is really their dominance in the regular season was about playing their heroes and playing them a lot.
Yeah. uh, Interesting to start off with. It being the year of the cock, we're starting in Hollywood, but it's got a very Chinese-based theme for one of the starting points. So
Happy Year of the Cock. All right, so looking at these teams coming out here, a very interesting defensive lineup coming out of Bone Zone. T-Mic on Zenyatta going to be the solo. Oh, sorry, no, I'm pretend I didn't say that. I'm an idiot. They are going to be running the 3 tank. No, sorry, 3 support, 2 tank, 1 TPS. Jeez, I haven't done this in a whole week, guys. It gets rusty. This isn't like League of Legends. But gonna be running that Albino Joe Symmetra that we've seen out of them before. So nothing new, but worth watching. Splinter going to be the solo DPS there. Meanwhile, on the other team, a ton of these guys on their best one picks. Now, Kyrion and Zenyatta, Tree on the Junkrat, Sexy on the Zarya, TK Thrifty on the Mei. These guys built an entire season around playing those heroes, and they are not wasting any time busting that stuff out to start with.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if the Symmetra works again as it did last week for Albino Joe. I know that's a mainstay he's actually started with, as the team starts to take down some of those turrets.
Yeah,
just to be able to get a little bit more breathing room.
I really like how aggressively that Sadistic is trying to push in here. They are contesting every inch of ground.
And slowly pushing forward. Like they've been pretty successful to get out of that first.
But Crystallize gets hooked by 30 from the top. That is a huge play. Although now 30's taking a lot of damage up here. Oh, he gets the hook on the third, or TK is 50, and he just casually jumps back down.
Ooh, and a pull, but 30 does not go down. Does start the Hog Wild.
Yeah, maybe not a necessary whole hog there, but still a series of huge plays out of 30 there to single-handedly stop Sadistic off this thing. And now he's going on the chase. He's looking for Tree, but 30 is kind of caught in the middle of a rocket here. He's finally going to go down, but TK does go down with him. So we'll see. Maybe this could be the chance for Sadistic to make a real push here.
Yeah, once one of those tanks goes down, it's a lot easier for the other team to really feel confident and push forward, as that person to absorb the damage just isn't there right now.
Yeah, now we see Sadistic is fighting around the point, but a little hesitant to push onto it. Ooh, but Splitter gets hooked. Sadistic has about the tranquility, but it doesn't.
Crystallize does drop the beat, and they're continuing to push forward, but
with a nice hammer down.
But they get taken out one by one.
Yeah, that was really clean out of Bone Zone, but watch out because we're only a few % away from 4 ultimates available for Sadistic Autistic, and there will not be any ult unless 30 gets a lucky hook here. Keep an eye on 30 because he's kind of the guy to watch over the If he can get a pick, he's going to stall some time for his team to charge ult, and they need that right now, or this is going to be a really rough fight for them.
Oh, a dirty pull onto Bol of Sexy, who gets taken down. And a lot of members just down.
Oh, but there comes the Riptire going for Jimbone. He's going to take him.
Yeah, they're doing the best they can to contest the point, but no piece of the pie, and all the members fall once again.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was 3 of the 4 ults blown by Sadistic Autistic. Now they're maybe going to get 2 ults off for the rest of this game out of Salvo and Bol Sexy. And they're kind of in panic mode here, just trying to rush down this point. You see Sexy's kind of solo on the point here. It's just been very disjointed pushes for the most part.
Yeah, it hasn't looked very balanced. They do have Bol of Sexy's ult coming into this next one to use if they really want to try and take advantage. No one on the opposite team can really eat that unless UTech gets a dirty sleep dart on him before he does that.
Let's finish this.
Alright, so we see 20 seconds to go. Particularly using the Mei wall to sneak in from behind the points.
And it looks like they're successfully pushing forward.
Yeah, I don't think both don't quite read that. They get like the Zenyatta ultimate, but oh, the Graviton Surge just pulls Zenyatta into it, so nothing happens on the Graviton Surge.
Oh, Crystallize's ult gets knocked away. Denied.
Is gonna be it. A nice pulling of the points out of Bone Zone, and they pick up where they left off last week with a perfect defense.
Score.
And man, Sadistic Autistic looked so good in that game until the first time they had to attack the point. And then they just never seemed to get it back together. It was really disappointing to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, and it was a little awkward. I was expecting a little bit more coming out of them to begin with. But now with them on defense, we'll see what they can do. Maybe these teams are just really both good at defense, and that's where they both shine.
Yeah, but man, rough place to start if you're Sadistic Autistic.
Yeah, well, and if you're calling this correctly, that Bone Zone has just been the team that's been playing more and playing better, then this first map will be a really hard game to swallow, like the Year of the Cock. Looks like the team hasn't really changed much when it comes to the lineup, though. Tree still on the Junkrat, May still on, or for Thrifty. Crystallize switched off. Yeah, we'll see what ends up coming out.
Mercy. I do love the defense Mercy on this map.
Yeah. Well, and something that they're not doing, clearly they don't have Albino Joe on their team, but no defensive Symmetra. So those immediate turrets are no longer in the way, and there's no additional shield to throw out to provide a little bit more defense as the teams are attacking forward. It looks like they're opting for a much higher setup to try and hold the team back, but it looks like a quick push up the right side. Jim quickly goes low and takes down.
That was big. Watch out, Splitter is in the back of this team right now, trying to rain some damage from above before he finally
Tree takes
goes
out
down.
2.
Yeah,
a lot of members just falling on each side.
If somebody wanted to rush the point right now, it's open. And I think Jim just respawned. He's getting to the point. He's realizing it. And Bone Zone has actually won that fight kind of decisively. Oh, and a big push to stop out Yard. This is going to be a late arrival of the Sadistic Autistic. And I don't think they're going to get to this point in time.
No, I don't think so. They got to contest,
and that's it.
That's the first match.
Wow.
That was fast. That was really fast.
Final score.
Yeah, they're picking up right where they left off on everything that was the King of the Hill map last week.
It looked a little bit out of form. They might have just thought they were better and could win off of that.
And you know, knowing the players on Sadistic, that wouldn't surprise me. And Splinter gonna get the play of the match here. And look at all the skill. He's aiming in the general direction of all those Sadistic Autists.
And he's just doing damage, and he stopped shooting for a bit.
Much
hanging out.
Very MVP.
Reloading. Worth. Who'd have thunk?
But yeah, really just... Go back to the point we were just talking about. Sadistic Autistic, just knowing the guys on that team, for them to get the 1 seed. I mean, I could totally see half of that team being like, oh, yep, we're just better than everyone. GG, we'll win the finals easy. Like, especially Salvo. Anyone that's known Salvo for any extended period of time could definitely see that happening, but he's not the only one on that team I could see thinking like that, and
yeah,
they're going to have to figure out something really different going on in this next map.
Yeah, I completely agree. That first map was really awkward. Let's see what they plan to do with this next map, as Bone Zone will ban 4, allowing Sadistic Autistic to pick whichever one they want. If they're feeling essentially spicy motherfuckers, they could just pick Hollywood, as they haven't won on it yet, just to kind of restart the series.
You know, I would propose not doing that.
Yeah.
I am not playing this game, so what do I know?
You know what? Maybe what Sadistic Autistic was doing was just playing with their opposite hand on the keyboard and mouse, and it was a trouble for them. So now they want to get serious and show us what they're really made out of to bring it back and show Bone Zone what's up.
Maybe their autism hit stage 2 in the past month. They haven't played in a while.
Oh.
Maybe they went from just like minor autism to terminal autism really fast. That stuff
Ooh.
that makes it so
Yeah,
can't play video games anymore.
yeah. Terminal sounds bad for everything
Yeah.
except for a train station.
I
so-
hope we are not entering Code Dragon for any of these guys. I love these guys. There's some very good friends of mine that are autistic, and I hate for them to die of their autism.
It looks like the Bone Zone has banned Ilios, Legion Tower, Nepal, and Dorado.
So no
So,
King of the Hill,
no King of the Hill. And Dorado as just another spicy ban.
So if I'm sadistic autistic, I am really conflicted right now. There's part of me that wants to go for one of those 2 capture point maps because we saw sadistic really struggle with those last week versus that shitty third place team was Zetakasana.
April
you guys-
Wizards.
April Wizards. There we go. Thank you. But on the other hand, I'm thinking I'm thinking that we couldn't even capture the first point in Hollywood. We couldn't come close to capturing the first point in Hollywood. How the hell are we going to capture 2 points? So it looking like Sadistic going to go with Eichenwald, which was the
Which is a
second
very
to
similar
last.
map. Like, 1 point of entry, unless you're gonna Diva and Farah over it.
Yeah, this
So-
is Sadistic saying the map wasn't the problem. We just played bad, and we'll see if that comes back to bite them.
Yeah, I mean, if they go 0-2, they're really gonna have to change up the map. I think the type of map, if this is a loss, as clear of a loss as the last one, I think that's what'll need to change. Or maybe they'll swap in their bench player. That's always an option too.
I don't know who their bench player is, but I would be surprised. Mainly because if I don't know who their bench player is, I have low expectations. But I don't prepare for these games like I do with the SBL. I don't remember. I hope you all can forgive me for that.
Well, and with 1 additional member on each team, including the bench player, 7 people is hard to remember.
Yeah, I just think of how bad some of these starters are, and I'm like, man, the bench players are even worse.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
that's
in
what
the
you end up
SBL
seeing with
sometimes-
a larger pool of people is there's more bad people.
Yeah, so I do appreciate that we brought the baddie back.
Yeah, not having multiple people in the top 10% of everything. It's good to have bronze, silver, gold. It makes the games more exciting. And it's just fun to be bad. What else can people really want? It's the baddie Overwatch League.
Alright, so looking at this start on defense here, it's going to be solo tank. Nope, Tree's going to switch. That was, I was going to be very surprised by the 1 tank 3 DPS on defense. But Tree playing Reinhardt, so looking like the switch for Sadistic going to be player personnel related. With Tree going over to the tank, which is kind of his awful. Not Farah, not Junkrat.
He was born here.
Yeah, I think he does thrive on it if the team needs him to play it. It's just something that we haven't really seen.
Yeah, it's
come
fine,
out.
but I've never seen it be as good as his 2 DPS carries. And
Yeah, I would completely agree.
on the same note, Salvo playing DPS, not a tank, I can say the exact same things about. So this is Sadistic saying, hey, we're going to just switch things up, and it can't go much worse than having Faith. And we'll see where Faith gets him.
Activated.
Albino Joe is also running Symmetra on offense.
They love this Symmetra, and I really respect the way they stick to their guns. And Splitter is
I like it
going
on
over the
defense.
top.
On offense, it's a little surprising to me. But yeah, some fire coming down
Oh,
on
this is such
Thrifty.
a fast push coming out of Bone Zone. They get
Ooh,
crystallized down so early.
Valkyria, you're the only healer still up for the team. trying to keep people healthy as Tree's getting dangerously low and falls.
Yeah, Tree's down.
Thrifty's falling.
Point established out of Bone Zone, and it's looking like they've pushed the survivors back. It's just TK Thrifty coming in on his back end. Now
Taking a
with
nap.
the desperation and a jump onto the point. And now with Thrifty down, Salvo down.
Yeah, Thrifty's gonna try and waste as much time as he can. Ooh, good wall.
He did waste a good amount of time, but it doesn't matter. Everyone
Tree
coming
gets-
into that funnel gets slaughtered.
Bone Zone
And-
just looking really clean.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction here, Phil.
3-0.
No, not a smaller picture. Sadistic Autistic fucked up picking Eichenwald.
Yeah. Oh no, I completely agree.
You cannot get smoked on Hollywood that badly and go, we're just gonna switch a tank and DPS player around and suddenly be better.
Yeah. Well, and sorry, like I love Symmetra. I think she's a terrible idea on offense, but she's working right now, and I think that even speaks even louder to the failures that's
So
happening
there
on
is
these
an
sides.
ult advantage coming out. Albino Joe's gonna drop his ult down. They also get a pick on the 30, but despite all of the things going well, Sadistic is not contesting his card until just now. They give him so many meters for free there. Now,
All
Sexy's
Sexy
gonna
does
off the whole
roll.
hog.
And they counter ult with the Lucio, dropping the beats, and no members fall. They've got four ults on the side of Bone Zone.
There goes a really deep blizzard out of TK Thrifty.
And he finally takes down
Let me get you patched up.
the tank.
Albino Joe gets hooks there as well, so that's gonna get this cart to start inching backwards, but there is so much time to work with here for Bone Zone, who still have 4 ults available going into this next fight, whereas it's only the 2 support ults available for
And,
Sadistic.
and Splinter is hiding. So if he wants to ult the back line, he has any opportunity he wants.
This is good. This is how it ends. Goes Splinter. Oh, Jim Bone
now
with the
he has
hammer
to.
down.
He
Now
has to.
Splinter takes to the sky. Justice reigns from above, and everyone
dies. Everyone's dead.
And it's gonna be the second point.
And do you see this? Thrifty is way behind enemy lines.
Clearing the area.
No,
I think you have to kill yourself.
Oh, dude, I get it. No, they do this. They do this in high-level League of Legends. It's called inting or intentional feeding.
Much better.
Oh, gotcha. He's trying to be a distraction to pull from the actual point.
Here he comes, TK Thrifty at 61%, gonna be the backline sniper, but he's just whipping everybody.
And he falls.
Goes down
Remember
to
his falling on that side.
This is
Valkyrie falls. Tree's quickly going low. Salvo's really low. Just members dropping left and right. They might have to join the battered women org after this fight.
Alright, so we see a last ditch Graviton Surge gets a lot of the Bone Zone, but I don't. Oh, actually, no, that is going to be enough. 'Cause
Yeah,
that
that's a
is
pretty
5
clean wipe.
down in a blink there. So, that was substantial. There's a decent ult economy here. There's 2 ults available.
But the
For
thing is,
Sadistic.
they don't see them. They had the teleporter back there, so they all could come up whenever they wanted.
I did not see that teleporter, but Albino Joe on the offensive Symmetra pays off because Sadistic didn't see that coming either.
Ooh.
And now Jib with a nice hammer down. They're going to mop up the 2 remaining Sadistic on it. And I think that's going to do it. With over 3 minutes remaining, Bone Zone cap.
Oh, Thrifty races onto the point and falls. Crystallize gonna try and waste as much time as he can. He's dancing, he's moving to the beat. Sexy, tracering things. Valkyrie, they're making a hole, but I don't know if they ever dropped the teleporter or if it got used.
It might have all got used. That was a
Yeah, it
lot
looks like
of
it got
body
used because
slam
Albino
there.
Joe's got his ult tick going. Crystallize is still alive on this point, and the Tracer doing Tracer things. Oh,
He
this
drops
last
the
point.
beat. This is I think that was it though. Now he goes crystallize and Tree remain. And Tree whips the
bad
grab top
ult.
surge. But that was a good 45 seconds bought. That
Yeah.
could be decisive if Sadistic Autistic are able to capture a point. But that was still
To 3.
entirely
Switching
Bone
sides.
Zone's game.
So if they cap to the end because there was time remaining, they get another try. Is that correct? Or is
Yes.
it just whoever has faster time?
They would, I believe, get another try.
Okay.
But yeah, just I want to go back to that teleporter because I didn't realize Albino Joe had laid that teleporter down. And clearly, Sadistic Autistic didn't even think about the possibility of there being a teleporter there. I mean, I can practically hear the comms. Oh, nice wipe, guys, nice. We can turn this around. We can hold this.
And then
suddenly
6 seconds
all
later,
6 members of Bone Zone drop out, drop their ults on the cart. It was perfect.
yeah, I've given Albino Joe a little bit of a hard time sticking to the Symmetra that much, but that was awesome. So kudos to you, Albino
will
Joe.
protect
Let's
the
see
innocent.
your defensive Symmetra just overpower your offensive Symmetra.
If it was bad, 30 wouldn't let him do it.
I mean, I guess I'll accept that. Or is it, if it's
All
not better
systems
than
checked
anything
out.
else,
Ready
30
for
lets him
combat
do it.
maneuvers.
Dude, maybe they're just trolling. They're like, I bet we could win this series without Albino Joe playing Diva.
Or Albino Joe switching off of Symmetra. Or did he already switch off Symmetra?
The offensive half.
Yes,
of
offense he
Hollywood,
wasn't,
He
you're
played
right.
something else.
Yeah, he was playing Roadhog because he had some sick grabs with the new patch for Roadhog hooking people. But yeah, we'll see what kind of hold gets implemented here. Pretty standard on this side.
I will
Not
not waste this opportunity.
not anything crazy. I think Symmetra's playing a offensive damage dealer
Always leave yourself a buffer.
instead of a support in this point, so they really have 2 damage dealers. Roadhog kind of counts as 1 and 2.
Locating.
But
Oh,
it looks
30
like
with the
very
first hook of the
mobile
game.
teams coming out of Sadistic Autistic.
Alright, now watch. Salvo has snuck into the back line completely unnoticed. One playing on that Sombra. He's lost a few teammates in the process, but he is on the point solo. But he has lost a lot of teammates getting there. And
Yeah, and
gonna-
he's just running around doing Sombra things, being invisible. And it looks like he's not trying to rejoin the team?
No, I would have got the hell out. I don't blame him.
Thanks for the assist.
Well, he's hanging out by the stairs, so just trying some cover fire, taking out turrets, so his team can walk through. The Pocket Mercy on Tree, trying to do as much damage as possible. And with a full 6-on-6, this might get spicy as Thrifty starts to go really low, drops the Mac, and continues taking damages, but is being healed.
At least the bridge has been lost for a moment here, so Sadistic Autistic have a chance to push forward onto this point.
But
Maybe looking
Jim-
for a nano boost onto somebody.
Jim drives by and doesn't hit anybody.
Ooh, but that's Crystallize and Tree. The Farmer see both going down there. The remaining
And Sexy
six-
drop. An ult on a team and keeping everyone healthy as they try
Yeah,
to
this-
counter the remaining members. Oh,
Yeah,
he woke up the Diva, loses Mac and falls.
That was a nice hold, and that
That-
puts
Not waste this
That was a
opportunity.
perfect
Bone
hold.
in this
They
good
didn't
old
lose
charge.
anyone.
Nope. And Albino Joe just drops the teleporter, I believe I heard, and Splinter's 3% away from having the third ult for his team. Although they're close to a lot of ults for Sadistic Autistic as well. If I'm Sadistic Autistic, I'm just poking out, trying to go for 6 ults, and all in on that last fight. But instead, TK Thrifty gonna get hooked and killed, and delayed that plan for a while.
Salvo ult as Sombra, but
They
nothing
trying to
came
win
out
the
of it.
5v6? That was bad. And now we see Tree going
Oh.
up. He gets a lot of kills here.
And with no mercy, that means a lot, but that teleporter positioned above the point means anyone can get to it if they want to.
Taking the objective.
Salvo is trying to take it down and loses his life for it. They need to get on this point if they
They
want to
got-
hold it, and they
Oh,
did.
they don't. They were so close.
Sloppy. But it doesn't look like it would have mattered because all those members have now died.
You needed a doctor?
So Sadistic Autistic gonna keep their Eichenwald alive. Got 3.5 minutes to push to the second point here. Not in a bad spot on ults. They're currently up in ults.
I know it's a little bit unfortunate for Albino Joe. He did switch off, but if that teleporter survived through that point, he would have gotten it back if he wanted to keep it, but has opted to change to the D.Va.
Yeah, I think once you're working on a non-stationary point, it's a lot easier to switch off of that Symmetra. So not surprised to see him go into his pocket.
Are you telling me you don't put the teleporter right on the payload?
On defense? No, not. I've never tried that actually.
Just intimidation tactics. Come on,
But,
it's easy. But what we're seeing is a very split team. We've got two people, Ball of Sexy and Crystallize, pushing the payload. As
there's a lot
people
of
feel
clowning around out of ults right there. They've given up a lot of time, and they're not in a good ult position going into this next fight where they're presumably about to contest.
Yeah, but it does look like the time advantage is still with.
Jim wins the hammer arrow. Sorry, only hits Valkyrie, but as some
And then loses his life for it.
Gets Jim.
Yeah, 5 ults on that side.
So there's a tactical visor coming out.
And he falls.
Doesn't get anybody. Just looking all right for Sadistic.
Yeah, members dropping from both sides. Oh, dirty hammer down. And a close quarters rocket out of tree.
He gets 2 with that, lays down a little more damage. We still got a
And
2v2
later
here
falls.
on the points. 30 and Jim trying to buy as much time as they can for the team
Crystallize
to run
might
back.
try and get. Oh, Crystallize. I think he was trying to get an ult off to pull 2 up, but one of them res and he just lost his life trying to be in a good position for it.
Yeah, and it was a long fight. It was a drawn-out fight, but in the end, Bone Zone are gonna win it. And now it's only 75 seconds remaining. And
Yeah,
so
they've
this
got
this
1-2 pushes left if it goes quickly.
Yeah, and they are currently in a much worse ult position than Bone Zone, who have 3 ults up. But oh, Valkyria goes down. That was a huge hook out of Albino Joe.
Yeah, very tight quarters fight. I'm not sure why they're trying to rush the point through here as they are. But overall damage is being laid down defensively, and for the last 30 seconds
goes down. That's big. They couldn't afford to get picks there.
Yeah, they just haven't done anything with the time that they've had.
I am injured.
This might be the stalemate or loss.
Yeah, and it looks like
of
they've
this match.
recognized that they know they have to go. They're about to have a few ults. They got a lot of time. I hope they have an oh man, they lose 2, they lose 3 so fast. They don't even get. Oh, what a big res.
An interesting ult. Someone's got to touch the cart though. It doesn't matter what members you kill or don't kill. And that's
over.
That's gonna be the map.
Bone Zone successfully holding that kind of awkward split fight there. And other than about a 2-minute stretch where it didn't go well, Bone Zone looked in total control on Eichenwald.
1-3.
Yeah. Wow. That was quite the hold.
Dude, if MVP isn't Albino Joe dropping that teleporter, I'm gonna be upset. And I know
I don't
it's
know
not
if it's
gonna
gonna
be.
show it, but I think we would give it to him.
Play of the match.
Yeah, no, honorary MVP. Let me tell you guys about this fucking teleporter that Albino Joe dropped, okay? You guys are like, oh, we're gonna win a fight. Yeah, we want to fight. Sweet, we have some time to catch our breath. And suddenly, all 6 Bone Zones, they come out. I don't care about your sex double kill. That teleporter was the best teleporter I have ever seen. Not just in the Daddy Overwatch League, but ever.
And what happened exactly after that play of the game was the teleporter. The teleporter happened exactly after that they all showed up and then wiped.
That was just made with the assist on the Symmetra, man.
Right.
DK Thrifty was like, dude, watch this. I'm gonna fuck our team over in a new way. He's thinking, oh, I got this cool 6 double kill. No, I'm secret agent for the other team. But here we are. Sadistic Autistic down 0-2.
Yeah, we'll end up seeing. I think the bans will remain the same. Out of
Yeah,
Bone Zone.
there's no reason for Bone Zone to change anything. I mean, you looked so much better than the opposition. You make
I
them
think
adapt
I
to
think
you.
they looked better. Even though they lost the point on Eichenwald, I think they looked better overall.
Yeah, I think so too. Probably because we got to actually watch them play offense for a
Right.
full map since they started on offense. And yet, gonna be the same 4 bands coming out of Bone Zone. So we will see. By the way, we've got to flip the team names around in the clients.
So we've seen that defense hasn't worked out. Offense hasn't really worked out. The control points are lost at this point. So what fumble Ruski can Sadistic Autistic run at this point?
I don't know, man. It's like Sadistic Autistic got the memo that the year the cock started yesterday, and they've been on their knees ever since.
Yeah, they're going to really need to start performing and not in that way if they want to see this series go another map. The only thing I was going to say, they might need to just start with a payload. Because they at least push the payload half of the map for Eichenwald.
Yeah, if I was Sadistic Autistic, I'm praying that for some reason we get to play a King of the Hill to change things up as drastically as possible. But since that wasn't going to happen, a full payload map seems like their best bet.
Dorado, of the full payload maps, I consider very close to Hollywood because of the structure of it and the way the map is laid out overall. So, hoping for Sadistic Autistic's sake, it doesn't play the same. The good news is they don't have to worry about capping the first point, they just get to move it. And maybe this is where we see the reverse sweep happen.
It's not like we've never seen a reverse sweep in the Batty Overwatch League.
And
it just
does it make for good casting.
It is exciting, but that one also involved a starter waking up after the first 2 games and joining the team for the remainder of the series.
So do you think one of the problems that this team was facing is they thought, wait, I thought this was the SBL League starting? Why are we playing Overwatch?
Who do you think would win if these 2 teams played a 6v6 on Summoner's Rift right now? Never mind. I don't even think it would be close. It would have to be Bone Zone.
It would. Yeah. Wait, it would have to be Bone Zone?
Oh, 100%, dude.
I would go with Sadistic Autistic.
I don't know if Crystallize, Valkyrior, or Sexy... I know Sexy used to play League, but I don't think he was very good. I don't know if Valkyrior or Crystallize ever have.
I think...
Tree hasn't played in a while.
I think that's okay.
The only player on Bone Zone who never played was T-Nick. He got to, like, level 10. But I think, like, their worst players, like Jim, at least played for a long time. UTech still plays on and off. Joey 30 and Splinter, I think, would be good enough to beat TK. And Salvo and a Rusty Tree.
Interesting.
But
I think once this
we're not
match is
playing
over...
on Summoner's Rift. We're playing on Route 66 with Big Earls instead of Big Baron.
And a very successful first push coming out of Sadistic Autistic.
By the way, they are running the offensive Bastion.
Yeah.
This is not a drill. That is Bastion on the payload, boys and girls. And he is shooting up the Big Earls. And he is gonna take out Albino Joe. Oh man, I just want to watch this. He's getting everybody. That's
These are the 6 strats the pros talk about. They have eliminated most everyone, and UTech's running away.
I can't.
This is now Korean advice: play offensive Bastion.
I've always thought real shooters do make a comeback.
And
now
finally,
she gets
Grippy
to go
Ball.
down. But Bone Zone has to be careful. They're kind of backing off of this count here. They want to contest for as long as possible. Both healers are down for the offense right now, so keep an eye on that.
And now everyone's running around playing freeze tag. and by freeze tag I mean they're dying. As that's a reset.
What if that's as far as it goes? What if the cart's just moving backwards for the rest of the game? Man, wouldn't that be rough to have been a meter from the end on the back of your offensive bastion?
Yeah, and I think Bone Zone was just very surprised as to what they're actually trying to run, and didn't prioritize actually dealing with it. They waited to get wiped to try and respond.
Yeah, it happened so fast. I don't understand how they lost more than one person to that match the way they did. But, you know, sometimes the enemy team has the main character, and that's
we
all
now
there
have
is.
Tank Bastion running out.
Yeah, he's booping right on in. He's trying to lead the charge, but Jim's just going to eat that whole load to the best of his ability.
And he sets up on the point. He's facing the wrong way.
Oh, Jim is in his ass, and there's a nice hammer down. He gets the new attack. Flies is dead as well, but no res available.
Counter ult out of tree. And a huge ult out of
big
tree.
Zenyatta. Dave, everyone can Salvo's Reaper ult, and that's gonna be another hold out of Bone Zone.
That T-Mick, that was sexy.
That was
I think
so
I think we were hard on him throughout the season for popping his ult early as Zenyatta. A little premature meditation, but that was glorious.
Yeah, he's a player who's, I think, been really good tonight so far. We haven't really talked about him much. I mean, he's been playing the healer, so we almost never talk about the healers much unless it's a resurrects.
But yeah, I would agree.
I've been
very
noticing a
good
lot
tonight.
of good out of T-Mick. And
Yeah.
he's one of those guys that, is, from what I understand, has been playing a lot in the past month and a half. This is kind of his main game. And
Yeah.
I think for him, it was serious to come in here and win a second Natty Overwatch. Because
Yeah.
it's not just 30 coming off the last team Blue Eyes White Bastion.
So what happened over the last like 30 seconds is they disorganized those teams and the fights. Multiple members just falling on their own that they've been successfully able to push.
Yeah, this is a big man advantage in favor of Bone Zone. Albino Joe finds as much time as he can with that whole hog, and he has pushed everyone back. Valkyrio's sleeping in the middle of enemy territory, but I don't think that's gonna matter.
Oh, Jim falls as he gets ulted, but can't do as much as he wants. And we're running short on time.
Here, but that's gonna be a cap.
Yeah, 30 doesn't want to get anywhere near that point.
2 minutes and 40 seconds now to go to the next point. Currently a nice ult advantage for Sadistic Autistic. We've had some heroes with us. We haven't talked about now. Salvo is on the Widowmaker now, and no one can hide from his sight right now. Another 3 ults to come, and TK50 really close on the pair. And 30 gets picked from a distance.
The pocket Widowmaker works really well because it doesn't take as long to get to the amount of percentage you need to do the damage. It doesn't actually fill up faster, but the higher damage just means you can do more damage. So we'll see if that ends up working out for this team.
Enemy in my sight.
Yeah, this is a massive ult advantage for Sadistic Autistic as well. They're sitting on 4 ults. Now they get another pick on a teammate. Bone Zone is just bleeding 3 kills right now.
Oh, we've got a Splinter in the back who's trying to just take down the healers. Oh, and 30's back there too. Salvo is just not allowing any of it. And they keep pushing. I was not expecting them to have this easy of a time.
No, this is there's some really awkward positioning coming out of the survivors for Bone Zone. Actually, they pushed a lot of numbers off to the point. There's a nice hammer down. There's another nice hammer down. Gonna negate each other. Just gonna buy some time here. And watch the Splitter's up on the balcony. He has his ult available, and this is actually looking like it's gonna be a win out of Bone Zone.
So I do want to say T-Mick looked really good there again. He had a great ult, Orb of Discord on the right people to try and bring them down, and just doing tons of damage with the balls for this year of cock.
Yeah, and despite how bad that went for a minute there still wasn't much time to work with here, so it's only 50 seconds remaining on this fight. There's going to be a lot of ults available, looking like 3 or 4 on each side. And the big one to watch, Crystallize on that Mercy. Watch for the Resurrected. Oh, Bol S2 goes down.
He drops.
That was a really bad time to get picked, especially for one of the star players of that team.
Yeah, they're cornered up in this room, and they don't really know what to do with themselves. As 30's just doing tracer things.
Yeah, Jim is up in their front doing a lot. Splinter over there on the flank. And now there's only 20 seconds remaining, but there's a hook. Splinter gets picked, does not get his ult, but TK50 gets hooked and picked as well. And there's a
single
resurrect
res
on this pair. That could be big, because there are a lot of body shopping for Sadistic right now. Watch out, both healers are down for Bone Zone though.
Oh,
gets
that was a
nice
big Tracer
two-man
bomb.
and then picks TK Thrifty, and that was it.
30, that was dirty. Dirty 30.
Score 0.
Oh, that Tracer bomb knocked out 2 and he just finished off a 3rd. We'll see what they can do. Let's see what they can counter with.
Has the chance to pull off the sweep here. All they have to do is push to the second point. And with the way they played offense on Eichenwald, they have to be feeling like they've got a good chance here.
Yeah, they also didn't get to push it very far. I think if we see something similar happen, where a fast push does come out, I don't think they'll get stalled the same way Sadistic Autistic did. It looks like they're starting with 30 on Hanzo to try and play a little bit of that sniper role. Splinter for the hit scan. Standard tanks. They might be opting for the single healer to provide more damage to just run this team over with. And if we were gonna have TK Thrifty on that Bastion, I was expecting it to be on defense, but he's going back to a little bit more mobile of a walking turret with Diva.
I was really hoping for some more Bastion, but if I'm Sadistic Autistic, I don't even know what to do at this point. Nothing has worked. Nothing has come close to work.
Yeah, this is the last ditch effort out of the Sadistic Autistic first place team out of the regular season. And
I want to highlight 30 here on the offensive Hanzo. Gonna go for a bit of style on his potentially last hero of the season.
he just wants to unleash some dragons. See if he ends up getting some dirty ults. There is no gravity well, black hole to mix with that. And just everyone's fighting around the cart. They didn't want the cart to go any further. A lot of shield, a lot of heal.
Ooh, but
oh,
big
dirty
tree in
pull.
the air.
Albino Joe. Thrifty pulled out of his mech and ripped a new one.
Yeah, they do lose Splinter for that, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Ooh, Albino Joe gets hooked into downtown, but he's gonna pull Paul sexy back and get the kill himself.
Yeah, and Jim walking forward to provide an excellent shield, so Albino Joe could
nice
save.
Down, but no one's able to follow through on it. No, I take that back. They're able to follow through to a bunch of kills. And there comes the resurrect on a crystallize. This should be a nice hold. What a Sadistic for now.
Splinter has to watch this guy's tree. He's playing his counter champion of.
Now watch out, there are so many ults available for Bone Zone going into this next fight. They have 5 of 6.
Yeah, and the only reason they don't have the other one is I think Jim used it during this last fight. And he's almost got it back. He's 2/3 of the way there.
They're looking for, and they get a hook. Ball sexy goes really low, and yeah,
Ball
and sexy gonna go down there.
Regardless of the healing, that was not crystallized.
We see crystallized goes down early. Bone Zone's doing a good job. They're still sailing a lot of ultimate, win out the team at ults. Sorry, the Fury Yard on Zenyatta.
And Thrifty ults, but doesn't get anyone as a counter ult comes out of Team X.
Ooh, another ult. Oh, but
and
a
some
big
dragon's
gonna force everyone off of this card, maybe.
And Splinter just playing some COD, shooting people up. And more members falling for Sadistic Autistic.
Yeah, but I think Sadistic Autistic can help the cart for now, even though they're currently at a man disadvantage. Bones are not feeling like they realize that.
And then 2 tanks run forward and just beat up Crystal, who's an offensive mercy on the front line. Bol S2 very low drops. So this team is just slowly pushing the point forward. They've got 1 minute and 10 seconds to hit this first checkpoint in order to get more time.
Yeah, this is a big stall out right here for Sadistic. They got to decide if they're going to try to hold this first point, and Salvo's playing like he wants to. He's in no man's land, and just like something, he only gets one with the res, I think, maybe two. But that's a tranquility on the cart that's going to hold it here, and that's buying a lot of time.
Oh, let's see if Jim can apply any pressure. No. Oh, he actually pulls down Crystallize before he falls. Never mind, now he falls. A lot of really hurt members.
Yeah, but now there's not much time remaining for Sadistic to need to defend here.
They might actually hold seconds. This.
Yeah, they're gonna have a Lucio speed trying to come in.
Without all the ults that they had last time, this might be very hard for them.
Yeah,
someone needs to get on this point.
They have to jump on the cart. They don't have. Oh, they get onto the cart. Now watch out. Here comes the tire, but not gonna get anybody. The cart's being contested.
Albino
Bol
Joe.
S2 gonna be the first.
Wild Hog.
Watch the self-destruct. It gets two.
They need to get on the point. Oh, they get close. But they're missing a tank of Albino Joe.
3v4 in favor.
And that's how the West
Looking like
was
they might take it.
Forward.
They get crystallized. Thrifty's the only one over here.
TK50 has bought so much time though. He's got teammates that are close, and he is buying as much time as possible.
I don't think
Salvo
close
and
is
Sexy.
enough.
No, they're not gonna be able to get in there and contest, and that's going to be as hectic as it can get. And now 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Bone Zone has to do just slightly better than what Statistical Artistic did today.
And they drop Salvo pretty quickly, so an easy
about
start of a push.
as well. This is going just like it did when Sadistic was on offense, with a lot of picks coming out right here. Sadistic does not have long. They need to just completely recollect themselves and start playing as 6.
Salvo is on the Widowmaker tree on the Junkrat. He was on it before, but just shooting, providing damage. He's got his tire if he wants to use it.
Oh, pick on the ball is sexy. And remember, Bozo does not have to get all the way to the point over here. And there comes the tire for a ball.
Oh!
It's 3!
Oh,
that was so big.
they did not expect that to come from so high above. Tree doing the work his team needs right now to keep them in the series.
Yeah, like we said, this is how it works for Sadistic Artistic. They just have their guys playing their heroes. And in some games, you have Tree going off on Junkrat. And that is what they need to stay alive in these finals. And there we go. Bol S2 gets the hook onto 30. That is more of what they need. Now
And Albino Joe drops as well. Splinter drops to Tree. Tree is playing out of his mind right now.
This is so awesome because now Bone Zone are going to give up so much ult charge in this fight and barely have time to set up for the next fight.
There's 4 ults on the side of Sadistic Autistic. Almost 5. Salvo's almost got his, but it's more utility. 4 ults. 5 almost with Splinter getting close on the side of Bone Zone. They keep funneling in through the same side, and Salvo keeps trying to take them down, but he's been distracted by the... Oh,
there's a deep hammer out of Jim. They get 2 kills on both of them. They get 4 so fast. The Riptire's coming in from behind. Only gets Jim.
Tree, you need to...
Albino Joe, but now he's finally going to go down. Now watch that is 4 members of Bone Zone on this cart.
They might do it. There's not a lot of time left. But
Crystallize does currently have a res available. 30's kind of going to the back line. He wants to disrupt people as they're running back to this cart here. But they got to watch out because there's almost nothing on this cart to fight with.
Yeah, that was a really awkward ult. I know he lost his mech and he wanted to pop it to provide more time for his team. I don't know if it's going to be enough though.
Watch out, Splinter can't step off the cart here. They are in overtime, but they're getting picks now. Splinter goes down.
Teammates down. Albino Joe's down. 30 is
down.
down.
This
Jim
is
and
looking
UTech.
good for Sadistic. It's just UTech on the Ana, and that's a healer. Not the guy you want He's buying as much time as he can. He's buying a lot of time. But
He
I
is
don't
doing
think
a
it
lot of
matters.
hippity-hoppiting. He sleeps the ulting salvo!
Oh my god, T-Vic is gonna make it back. T-Vic is making it back, and now so is Splinter.
Suiting up.
Oh, this team!
Yeah,
UTech!
now they have almost their whole team there. UTech did it for now, but will it be enough? Watch out. Crystallize has the Resurrect available. Splinter's down. Salvo goes down. They need to get a pick onto this Crystallize before he can get a big Resurrect off. And he's gonna pop it just for Salvo.
All systems checked out.
Oh, 30 goes down to the Diva ult.
Tree
Now
ults
watch out,
again.
Split Tire. Oh, it's two.
Pulls down the tank with them. There is no mercy to res them, so it is a 3v6 on this cart. As Teamic gets ulted by UTech and then ults himself. UTech has now got the hardest job, and that's
it.
That's it. Sadistic Autistic pulls one out of their ass.
Yeah, with full chaos there, but they get what they wanted. And their reward now is Bone Zone making their own selection of map. There were a lot of really good plays during this series, but a good selection is TK Thrifty's point-and-click adventure. Look at this. Everyone knows this is coming, and then they just all step around corners and let him keep shooting at them. Dude, he was really the main character there. I mean, I guess the main character just gets the kills. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they just let him hang out and do whatever he wanted, but they did.
That was awful out of Bone Zone. My jaw dropped so far when you give up the one kill to the best. You're like, oh yeah, guys, all right, like back the fuck off. We gotta like plan this out, and then everyone just doesn't pay attention to their ankles.
Yeah. Pro tip: if you can see Bastion, he can see you. So find a Reinhardt shield to hide behind and kill him.
So which team are you gonna be playing in Apex with?
Which team am I going to be playing in Apex with?
Yeah. You know, since you've got all that pro knowledge, man, like, you sound ready. I can't wait to watch Monty and Doa cast you.
Oh, whatever team will have me.
Alright, well, Korea, I know you're watching. I know you are one of our 10 viewers, so hit the man up. He will
all of Korea is watching on one screen. That's what's happening. It's so big that they're that dedicated.
It's North Korea that's watching. They're watching on their only screen.
Right. I suppose that makes more sense. They're hanging out with Kim Jong-un. He wanted to see how baddies play. So.
Man, Kim Jong-un's that guy that fucking locks DPS every game. I would hate.
Oh yeah,
Kim Jong-un.
Hanzo, Genji every time.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un, fuck you. Fuck your Hanzo. Fuck your Genji.
So we'll see what kind of bans come out of Sadistic Autistic. From what Bone Zone's been banning, I don't think they need to ban the control points because Bone Zone doesn't want them either. And they don't want cap for the first point payload maps. They want a normal payload map. I don't know how you... There's no way Bone Zone's going to pick anything like that. They're going to pick like Hanamura, Numbani.
Yeah,
just to make it hard.
Numbani's the obvious one I'm thinking, just to go for that final capture points in the payload map. So I would expect Sadistic Autistic's going to ban that, but we'll see.
Do you think they'd go with a point payload map instead of double point cap maps? Because I would expect that to be harder for the Sadistic Autistic team.
Well, it's Bone Zone that gets to pick.
Right. Exactly. So I don't think they'd give them anything to do with the payload. I think they just go...
I'm saying if one of those makes it through, that would be the first pick. Since Sadistic's taking their time with the bans here, and once again, don't blame them. It's, they still have to win out here. You want to make sure you get those bans right.
Yeah. Yeah, taking your time here, make sound decisions, double, triple check your math, do some geometry with that Hanzo that we had, and see what's up.
Do you think these guys are doing math right now? Is that where we went wrong? We never did any math, dude.
I mean, I can barely count past 3, so.
Jeez. No wonder we fucking got last place. Our points was in like the 3 figures, and we had a guy that can't even count like close to that.
That's why I'm always guessing how many people have ults ready. Obviously. Yeah, they're taking their sweet time. I think we know as casters what they can expect, but as this isn't happening in real time, they're not having the same epiphanies that we are. A little bit more in the moment, maybe trying to come down from a high.
This could be a side effect of their terminal autism. It's a lot harder to pick maps. And all right, maps are through. They're gonna take out Numbani and then the King's Row and then Anubis and Volskaya. So that would leave open
all of the control points, or King of the Hills.
The King of the Hills, and then they leave open one of the 2 capture maps. Oh god, why am I blanking so hard here on which one? Hanamura going to be the one that could still get picked. So if Bone Zone wants to go for a capture point related game type, they have Hanamura.
I'm surprised they didn't ban Hanamura and letting King's Row
they
get
must
banned instead.
Really not like King's Row, which, I mean, we've seen with teams, every team kind of has one map they just don't like for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm happy
or one map type. It's like one map and one map type that nobody likes.
Which is perfect. You get 4 bans.
Right, exactly. Except now some of the map types have 4, so you can't take them all out, as we're seeing with...
Yeah, next season could be... Maybe we'll have a different format for next season. We can worry about it then. Yeah. I'm personally hoping that we see some Capture the Flag get released for realsies.
Ooh, yeah, they have been talking about it. That would be exciting.
You just got back from vacation, so you haven't played since the patch yet.
I've seen the patch notes and I've seen the
okay,
brawl.
you've seen the Capture the Flag map. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Sombra is doing dirty things, teleporting and instantly capping. So we're gonna be heading to Nepal.
All right, King of the
which
Hill
I was not expecting. But
neither was I. After the way that they've been banning King of the Hill every game, but they must feel like they've got something ready for Nepal.
This is one of the ones that's more chaotic, but the team that's a slightly more organized or can do slightly more damage ends up winning.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the story of the series, is both these teams, they'll have moments where they look so cohesive, and then there's just these gigantic lapses of coordination. And that can really cost you on King of the Hill.
And it might be like 5 minutes too late, but a huge shout out to UTech playing Ana and surviving as long as he did on the last point. That was amazing to watch.
If they had won that game, I would have talked through the play of the game about his Ana. That was unreal. And for a moment there, I thought that was actually they were going to win because their entire team had gotten back. But
I thought the same thing.
Then you remember, we're not in a fairy tale. We both predicted 3-1, so I needed another game for my prediction to be right. So
you say there's no Cinderella story. I tell you that the second place team is winning. I don't know what you want, Swift.
It could be my 3-1 right. It could be your original prediction of a 3-2 right. I guess this is all right.
when both the casters can be right, good things are happening. Ooh, Albino Joe. Now this is something that's spicy, that's hitting a lot of ranked play, is the Symmetra, who hides the teleporter or the shield in a very awkward location for the other team to find. So they just get an overall objective advantage because of that utility. Oh, he decides to switch off it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I didn't think he was going to play the Symmetra on King of the Hill. That's such a gamble.
It is. It really is. And it just depends on how coordinated the other team is in finding those pieces. So these teams are heading out.
Yeah, both teams running 2 DPS.
2 healers, different style of healers, as both running the Roadhog. Ooh, that pull.
Wasn't quite good
sexy. So both Roadhogs fall very quickly as they're pulling on each other's chain.
Watch out though, we've got Sadistic and Autistic are on the points, and
Securing the objective.
they've kind of stepped back, but there's still no one from Bone Zone. Now Splinter's finally getting on this point, kind of screaming, hey guys, hello. But Salvo and TK Thrifty both go down here. This should be a chance for Bone Zone to establish, and they get to pick out a Crystallize as well. Looking like the first half of the match is gonna be the Bone Zone.
And something I've seen often is the team that's the first one on the point is the one that ends up losing it because they show themselves. And that's exactly what happened on this last map is they had 3 people on the point, 1 damage dealer, 1 healer, and then I think it was another healer just jumping around, and they all fell very quickly. But it looks like they're going to drop underneath.
Yeah, Teamic was waiting for a knockoff, but not going to get it from where they all came in. But oh, Crystallize goes down so early there. Teamic just fighting off in no man's land, putting down that aura. Oh!
Big damage.
I don't even know what happened.
I don't either. And Teamic just bounces.
He waits there for a solid 60 seconds in real time, and he gets the last man standing.
Oh. Teamic bounced Ball of Sexy off the map. It was just so dirty, Lucio things.
So, Salvo switch to that Sombra? He was not playing that Sombra to start with. He's on Reaper, I believe.
He was on Reaper to start with. He did die at Sombra during this last fight. He didn't get to do much, though. He tried to hack Jim and
Tree
died
gets the
for it.
knockoff onto Albino Joe, though, so we see a man advantage coming for Sadistic. Teamic does not get the knockoff, so he's going to drop the beat.
Crystallize running over, hoping he can boop someone off as well. He can't run too close to the tank, so he can't do that much damage. Oh, Jim gets a single man.
Yeah, buys a lot of time. Now Splinter with the counter rockets. He gets a 2K from it. And Bone Zone has bought a lot of time on this point, and it looks like they're gonna hold.
Well, Crystallize.
Oh, he's not gonna break it down. He's going down. Down where he dies down.
Crystallize did fall off, but walked back up the map. Ooh, Valkyrier getting everyone on the point some fresh heals, even though Thrifty had got hit by Anna. Oh,
there's a big Sombra out of Salvo before he dies. Maybe that's the difference. But I'm not thinking so.
Crystallize has to be on the point.
Wasting as much time as he can, but actually, they got a Tree there too, but I don't think it matters. Tree, you might want to not be dead, because you can't get points when you're dead. And
that's 100-0.
Yeah, and there was really only 2 points where that was close. So there was the 0-0, and then there was that last fight at the end where it looked close for a moment.
So, Bone Zone may have found the weakness of Sadistic Autistic. And it's half the maps.
Oh, I was gonna say it's their players, but I like that too. Half the maps.
Oh, okay, yeah. It might be all the maps since it's the players in that case.
How many players on Sadistic Autistic would start for Mercy Shore? All 6?
All 6.
Would all 6 of them be the best player on Mercy Shore?
Oh, I thought because we were the baddies, we had to have the baddies starting. Probably just half of them. But we can let you guys figure out which half gets benched and which half stays. It does look like Sadistic Autistic might have learned from their mistake last time. They're not rushing the point before it's actually open. They're just providing some damage and hanging out.
30's tracing around, but Splinter goes down really early here, so it's going to be a nice advantage for Sadistic. And it's looking like Bone Zone, they're not going to contest this till like the last possible moment. Jim's on this point here.
Jim wasting a lot of time and ends up falling. Yeah, Bone Zone was sitting above the point instead of underneath it. Guys, I know you're a little bit new to Overwatch, but for this one you have to be inside the point, not above it.
Yeah, that pick that I believe it was Splinter got picked really early, and then they just looked like they didn't want to commit to the 5v6.
But all died
still
one by one anyways.
Yeah. They were trying to go for a play. 30 dropped a Tracer Bomb in there, but it didn't do anything. But now we see the Doodle walking behind the Reinhardt. Get the hook on the Ball Sexy, let him live.
Yeah, they're just nice guys that way. Ooh, lots of pulls going out. And Utek gets
Both healers
knocked down.
Jim down as well. 30 gonna get. It's actually a 2v4 right now. No, now it's just a 1v4.
Yeah, 30 is just
And now
dead
30
at this
finally
point.
goes down.
Yeah. So Sadistic Autistic has
A lot of ults. A lot of ults.
yeah, and they look like they finally know what they're doing on this map. Maybe the first one's just the one that they're bad at, and they're really good at the other two. And if that's the case, they end up winning this map.
Maybe these teams just all suck at the retake.
Ooh, bold call. And why did they come from behind?
I don't know, man. 30's been thinking around behind, but ooh, they get a pick on the ball at sexy to start with here. That could be big. Jim drops the hammer. Now both teams
Everyone,
get
heal
dropped.
up.
But Jim is finally contesting the point before he goes down. Now Splitter goes down. And Splitter keeps going down so early in these fights.
Tag 'em in back.
Yeah,
It's really costing his team right now. And I think that's going to be it. I don't think Bones has time to get back and contest this.
Is Salvo just doing work on Soldier 76 to keep Splinter down? Is that what's happening?
The Splitter is not been great all season. Oh, 30
Oh!
drops the bomb, but does not get onto the point in time.
And Tree had an excellent shield for Salvo, so even though there was a bomb attached to his forehead, it did not kill him. Not many people can say that and survive. But maybe that's why they're on Sadistic Autistic. You can attach a bomb to their head, and afterwards, you don't notice a difference.
And I do not like this place.
Young punks.
Yeah, I want to go back to Splinter for a sec, because those of you that know me know I love ragging on Splinter. He's sucked this series. Other than a few ults, I've been noticing him getting picked off early in his fights so often. And you'll notice that Bone Zone, they've stopped running the 1 DPS stuff that they kind of like to run, that they started the night running. I don't think 30's been comfortable with Splitter being the only DPS with how often he's been getting picked off.
Yeah, maybe they're running a couple patches ago. So we'll see if this change essentially helps them pull forward.
As we see TK Thrifty, the first casualty here. We'll see if the first pick means the point given up. Oh, Sexy though gets the hook onto who else but the Master Splitter.
And Bone Zone has set up dominance on the point, but with so many members from each team on it, no one's had any ability to capture any meaningful amount of time on it.
Got to crystallize, but Albino Joe goes down there as well. This is a very awkward first fight, but finally Bone Zone is falling, looking like it'll be a cap from Sadistic.
And like we've seen before, the team that was on it first loses.
I mean,
The
they
point.
were both on it first that time.
I mean,
they rushed straight up the middle.
yeah. When you're faced with such a very obvious forward attack, the better strategy and tactical team pulls ahead. Looks like Jim's just slowly walking towards the point with his shield up.
Yeah, but it'll be a 5v6 for the Bone Zone right now. They want to try to buy some time. And now Splitter goes down again. And I think Bone Zone's going to back up. They don't want to just give up ult charge in a 4v6.
Ooh, and Albino Joe gets
a
hooked.
hook. And
So
Albino
he
Joe
loses
the
his back, it stays up.
That's salvageable.
Oh,
Then
Utek
it gets
and T-Mac go
both
down.
Bone Zone healers. And they get 30 as well. Get Albino Joe as well.
They will have 4 ults going into this. On the opposite side, they are sitting very close to all 6 for Sadistic Autistic, and they are at 55% for this point capture.
Look, Splinter just got picked again.
I didn't even see that happen.
It was just TK50 off to the side reaping a little.
And Sadistic Autistic fans out and then returns to the point. They don't want to separate too much as they have that many ults available.
Here we go. Splinter, the last man in for Bone Zone. They are walking in.
And they
through
have
that
all
Jim
6.
Bone.
As Tree now hits 100%.
Salvo goes down really early. The Gravicon Surge only gets 2, although Crystallize runs into it. But 30 and T-Mic go down really fast here. Now Splinter tossing into Rocket Barrage, but not putting out any substantial damage. Almost all of Bone Zone has died. It is now just Jim and Utek versus the world on this point.
And I don't think they can do it.
No, I'm putting my money on the world.
When it's you versus the world, always the world. Ooh, T-Mic trying to waste as much time as possible for his Bone Zone. Ooh, Splinter gets on the point as a monkey. Harambe dies to the Zookeeper.
And a 2-1 lead taken by Sadistic Autistic.
Are we seeing
Score.
the strength of the Sadistic Autistic team?
Maybe they just needed to warm up. Maybe no one on that team had played for a month and a half and they needed 2 maps to warm up.
Now show them.
That's
Symmetra reporting.
yeah. Back to this first map though, that was a problem for them. So if they win this one,
I should have to work with a street
they've got the
champion.
map. If they lose this one, they go back to one of the maps that they 100-0'd their opponents on. So looking good so far for Sadistic Autistic coming back here.
Yeah, I'd be pretty happy if I was Sadistic right now.
Yeah, I think they're starting to get pumped. The morale's up. Bone Zone's morale is down. But they've been sticking with the same picks, maybe hoping that they can actually do something different for the map overall. Maybe keeping this first point
Oh, watch out.
under the control.
Salvo on the Hanzo is the first for him.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
and
he was
30
on it
goes
for a
down.
different map, but yes, that's the first for this map. A lot of damage
Yes.
trading. Albino Joe and 30 going down, and it looks like Sadistic Autistic is going to take the first.
Oh, Jim wants to contest the point and he just charges past it. That's rough. Although
T-Mic
T-Mic gets a knockoff on the Valkyrior.
Yeah, and Albino Joe pulls someone. Holy cow! Crystallize is the only person alive, and it's a clean wipe.
I don't know how that happens.
I don't know how you have 6, lose multiple members, or
T-Mic the guy.
6v6, take down multiple members, and then lose as they walk in 1v1.
I just want you all to know, King of the Hill is by far the hardest game mode to cast because you never know where to have your camera set, and that is what happened right there. But that is huge. We see a non-0-0 for the first time today.
It's amazing, Con. It
We
really
see
is.
a nice backline coming in. T-Mic still looked like he wants to set up for the boop, but he's slowly respecting this push forward. This is the super aggressive push.
Thrifty taking a nap on the side.
Left. A Splinter and Tree both go down to set this fight. Splinter will not be able to get that ult he has off.
Yeah, UTech hanging around trying to figure out who can take that ult. Oh, and he goes down.
This is big because now Sadistic Autistic has the respawners going to be very split from the rest of their team. Jim and T-Mic going to try to buy some time here, but the boop is not going to be enough for a kill. I think this is going to be a recap.
Yeah, I think
Out
so.
of
There's a
Sadistic.
lot of time though in
Yes.
each or in the favor of Bone Zone.
There are also a lot of ults available. Going to this next fight, we're currently sitting on 8, so we've got quite a few that are close. As we see Sadistic trying to push forward. They're going to meet Jim's. They're
Big
actually
hard
maybe
hammer.
going for a flank here. They're
Oh, that
up on the
ult
flank
whip
right now. Nice.
doesn't hit anyone.
Oh, it's Salvo
Oh.
with the dragon from downtown. Not going to get anyone, but it does split the team a bit. Albino Joe goes down. Now Jim does as well. Looking like a holds.
None of those ults were staggered, but Thrifty and Ball of Sexy still have theirs. Everyone else was used. Albino Joe is going to have his for this next fight. And we're 60-60.
If he goes down, so there's going to be a moment of 5v5 here, but
Oh.
no, 30 gets picked again.
And then Ball of Sexy gets counterpicked. Salvo doing his best to snipe
Albino
people.
Joe tries to make a jump and throw it on, can't make it, just gives up his life for nothing. It was looking like it was going to be a close and important fight.
They're doing the best he can to just survive, but they're still capping the point.
Now, Splinter
Oh.
goes down early again with a nano onto Jim, who is going to have to be a god here. But they've actually got every member of Sadistic just gives up the point. They did not contest the point, and it gets recapped by Bone Zone. This is so huge.
Albino Joe counter out after Ball Sexy does to keep him off the point and falls to it. Now we have 3 healers fighting on the point. With other members showing up to try. Oh!
Seemic dies before he can get off. Oh no! Oh no, he's gonna give up the point.
Splinter
This is
jumped on the
so
point.
dangerous. Now Jim is back though. That is a tank on the point finally from Bozone. He's got Utech there to back him up. He's gonna be able to buy a lot of time as they take out TK50 and Valkyria.
And now they have the majority of the point.
Distance. Salvo goes down too. This is 98. Now, Bozone, if they can just clear out Sadistic Autistic, they're gonna take this, and they do it. They clear out Sadistic Autistic. They
2-2.
capture 2-2.
So we'll see if Sadistic Autistic
2-2.
ends up retaking one of the last 2 maps that they won 100-0 on. We just did see Bone Zone and Sadistic Autistic trading that capture multiple times. The stress is on for both of these teams.
The pressure here for me is going to be on the 2 DPS players out of Bone Zone. I've seen Splinter getting picked early all night, and I've also been watching 30 get picked early in a lot of these fights.
Is that why they've switched to 3 tanks on the side of Bone Zone? They no longer have
they
2
have
damage dealers?
30 switching onto the Zarya. So Splinter going to be the sole DPS player on that Soldier, whereas there's 2 DPS players on the side of Sadistic.
Thrifty should be able to shred through those tanks if he gets close enough and left alone long enough. That's what Reaper does.
He was also a player getting picked a lot on that last map, so keep an eye out for him.
Ooh, Splinter gets pulled.
And that's the solo DPS down. The 6v5 for Sadistic.
This should be easy now for Bone Zone.
Yeah, once again, they don't even try. They give up the point and then they just so sloppy out of Bone Zone.
Ball Sexy slept on the point as Jim is contesting 1v5 on the point. He takes one down but falls himself.
Doing an alright job of contesting. They gotta stop waiting until the point gets capped to do it. But
it looks like they're capping.
Yeah, they're winning out and they're gonna cap the point here, but now they're down 0-25 in a situation where they probably could have been 0-0. But hey, better late than never.
I'd also like to point out Valkyria just took down 3 members on his own, sniping from the back line.
Dude, I don't gotta notice that.
On Zenyatta.
He knows what he's doing.
It was just awesome to watch as he's just
Has he switched off that Zenyatta once all night? I'm not sure.
Has he switched off?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Beast, man. Right, so we gotta reestablish here as we see the hits are coming in from Sadistic. Beat gets dropped by T-Nick, maybe a little primo, but now TK Thrifty has popped the Wraith to get through the team. And Graviton Surge is gonna
huge.
That's major.
Yeah, it just nothing happens. They trade an ult for an ult.
So TK Thrifty's coming onto this backline. He wants to get a pick here.
Splinter running around with his sights set on everyone on the point.
Oh, that was a nice cleanup out of Bone Zone. Casually holds the point.
Salvo, tries to shoot Albino Joe and kill him before Albino Joe shoots him in the face. And he loses that fight. Albino Joe is just too tanky.
That's a big pick because now the clock is so your enemy in this Autistic.
And he does switch off Widowmaker to D.Va. So they will have 3 tanks versus 3 tanks.
They do have 3 gets hooked though, but I don't think that's gonna matter. Watch out, Albino Joe.
Oh, Tree falls.
Tree goes down. That is Tree and the Zarya will take it off the table in what will be the game-defining fight. But Albino Joe goes down with his whole hog as well. Now, Furia pops the Tranquility, and we see Ball S2 with the whole hog trying to push Bone Zone off of the point. They get the pick onto Jim, and everyone steps off the point. The point has been capped at 99%. And looking like we're going to go down to the wire here on Game 5.
Let's do this.
Yeah, there's only Tree's ult to counter Albino Joe's on the opposite side, but if team can get Thrifty and Salvo with their ult up before the next big fight happens, It's gonna be explosive.
A lot of
tutorial.
ults are over 70, so once a fight gets going, you can easily see a lot of these ults showing up. So we see the very aggressive push in coming here out of Bone Zone, kind of going deep, all in fight, and Splitter gets hooked again.
Time to raise
And he
my
was so close to his ult. He's at 80%. Tree!
With
Oh!
the 5-man
Huge
Graviton, they're gonna just drop the Diva ult. But they knock and punch people out of it, but it doesn't matter. That's still 3 kills. Forcing this to go autistic. And now
And it's at
Bone Zone,
75.
Survivors, they need to get out of there. UTech, you need to run like hell so that
And
you
he
can be
dropped.
involved in that fight. Oh, he could have gone back out of that fight in a different direction.
15.
So
I don't know if they can get to the
rough.
point in time. Jim gets knocked down.
Jim's going down. Yeah,
Albino Joe,
this
you have
is
to ult. Oh, you. Oh, this is it. That's it.
Emic gets onto the point. He's gonna just be doing anything he can at this point, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. UTech and 30 both go down. Now T-Mic finally goes down. Jim's gonna be on this point solo, but he's not gonna do anything. Misses the point. And that's it. 3-2. Sadistic Autistic pushing us onto map 5 here. And I mean, with 5 maps, there's a lot of options for play of the game. Looking like it's gonna be 30 on the Soldier 76.
Double kill.
He's just cleaning up members.
He's just finding heads and clicking on him, man. That's all it takes. So, bust out your choke detection warning, folks. Because we are a game away from the reverse sweep. So, I'm going to go to a quick caster bio break before this game 5, since I assume it's going to be a moment for the bans. So,
I'm gonna do the same.
BRB. Man, I would be feeling bad if I was Bone Zone right now.
The stress on that team has to be super high.
Especially because they were so close to winning on either of the last 2 maps.
Yeah, because this last one they had capped to 99, lost it, and couldn't retake it. Did they get that close on the previous map? I don't think they did.
They were only a few meters back on the previous map.
Oh, I meant, sorry, on the previous point on Nepal. They didn't get to 99, correct? They got to like 60 something and
Bone
lost.
Zone, they won the previous points because they won the first and then they lost 2. and then they won the fourth map, which was 99 to 100.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But they were close on that map 5. They were close on Route 66, but couldn't get it done on either map after stomping on those first two.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting final map because now they're kind of in the driver's seat. They get to ban 4 maps and see what Bone Zone picks for the remainder. And it may be just those ones that start with a payload. Or start with a point, end with a payload.
Yeah, we were talking about Hanamura was left open last map, which would have been the only 2-point map available. We'll see if that goes through again, if Bone Zone thinks they can do that.
Regardless, this has been a spicy
Yeah,
finals.
it looked pretty bad after the first 2 maps, but Sadistic Autistic in true terminal autism fashion. They
Taking
showed up
over?
for us. They took over when we least expected it. And they were the same bands as last game, so Bone Zone can pick anything, and they're gonna go back to Route 66. Oh man.
Bold strategy,
After-
Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
30's been a part of one team that did this.
Actually, when it happened last year, it happened against him. He was on the opposing team that picked to replay a map that was previously played.
That's wrong. I was on that team. I was on 30's team.
Correct. I was on the opposite team because we lost and then said, let's play the map we lost on, and lost again.
No, there was a different time where we lost in game 1, but then we picked it in game 4, and we won the second time.
Oh,
So maybe that happened twice in 2 different
it might have happened
rounds.
twice. Yeah.
Because it definitely happened in the series where Cruz showed up after 2 games.
Did you guys end up winning that?
Yes,
after
we lost it
Yeah.
the first time, and then we picked it I don't know who picked it the first time. I think they picked it the first time.
Yeah.
I don't even
yeah.
remember what our format was last season, but we lost it, and then we picked it, and then we won on it.
Yeah, when it happened to my team, it was Lijiang Tower.
It was Lijiang Tower when we did it too.
Yeah.
Well,
Either
that
way.
was a long time ago. This is Route 66 for all the models, and this was so close. Remember, both of these teams, in addition to being really close where they finished on the second point, both of these teams almost won on the first point as well.
Yeah.
A huge part of this was Sadistic Autistic with the Cheese Bastion. That Cheese offensive Bastion started Sadistic Autistic's comeback. Holy shit, let that sink in.
If you guys don't have your cancer sticks ready, get them out because we might be seeing it again. I think what's going to happen this map is stress is going to be so high and morale is going to be so all over the place that we're going to see a great push or a terrible push, and it's going to wildly roller coaster into the opposite. I don't think there's going to be consistent hold or consistent push out of either team.
Yeah, at this point, this really could just come down to the mental fortitude. It's not something we talk about as much as we talk about in, say, League of Legends. I mean, it's only been an hour and a half long series, not one of those, 4 or 5 hour series. But Overwatch is a game where when you start tilting, it's really easy just to kind of keep running into the enemy team and dying and, getting nothing accomplished.
One of the big differences, too, is in Overwatch, it's just about nothing but team fighting. Whereas League, there's some downtime where the worst you do is you trade with your lane opponent and keep going. So, in overall terms, I'm not sure what's worse. If it's constant team fighting and shorter games, or team fighting with breaks and longer games. But either way, we're going into Map 5, a repeat. You are not seeing a mistake on your screen. This team has opted into playing Route 66 again.
So it is worth noting it's going to be a reverse of the order. Last time we started with Sadistic Autistic on offense. This time we're going to be starting with Bone Zone on offense. So,
and this first team's push tells how the entire map can go. If they don't go anywhere, it's really easy for the enemy team. If it pushes really far, morale will be low.
Just going back to Splinter again, on that Pharah, Salvo and TK50 as Widow and Soldier are going to have the ability to just take him out of the sky. I got a feeling we're going to be talking about Splinter getting picked early again.
And we have, last map we had 1, 2, 3. Here we've got 2, 2, 2 coming forward. And a slow push, but successful push coming out of Bone Zone.
Oh, Salvo gets picked early. That's huge. Now Splinter's going to be very free to rain from the skies.
Yeah, as long as Thrifty can't get enough damage on him to actually take him down, he'll just do consistent amounts of damage.
Yeah, watch. 30 is going for a really deep flank. He's going to be putting out a lot of pressure back there. Although T-Nick does get picked off by Tree, that could be a big pick.
And as we said, this is pushing very far forward. And Albino Joe finally gets pulled off the cart and just walks back on top of it.
Yeah, it's just diva things. Now, Jim is very aggressively in the middle of the enemy team. UTech goes down, but so does Salvo.
Yeah, they've got Tree and Crystallize behind enemy lines. Just punching holes in the back line to kill the front line. As Splinter and 30 are the only ones up doing damage, and they have to recollect. Regroup and start a new strong push as every member is back once this diva gets back on the card.
One thing to watch going into this next fight. Now, Furio, as we were just talking about last game, he has finally switched off that Zenyatta. He's playing the Mercy. He has the Resurrect available, so keep an eye out for that. We all know how much that can change the game.
Yeah, a well-placed Mercy ult can be such a kill to morale once you've taken down a bunch of team members, and then they just get res back up and you've used all of your ultimates.
So we see, watch out, we got a really aggressive behind the enemy lines push coming out of 4 members of the Bone Zone.
And Jim's shield's great. He has to run to live. And
T-Nick
they
goes down
lose the
early.
healer.
UTech goes down early. There's no healers for this Bone Zone.
I'm on fire.
Oh, Tree, you didn't get your shield up in time. He also gets taken down by that diva ult.
Oh, Alfonso draws him back. Splinter's able to put down a ton of damage. Splinter and 30 are mopping up what remains, and what looked like it was going to be a really bad fight for Bone Zone is going to turn into the first point captured. Their setup pays off with the pincer.
That pincer was very well executed. I would love to watch that again at a later point and see where the chink in the defense fell, but that was really well coordinated.
So going into this next fight, we're going to have 4 ults on both sides available, so could be really explosive here. Remember, this was around the point where when both these teams were on offense the first time, they just got a ton of push for free off of picks. So that could be really rough if the team starts blowing their ults for nothing here.
And they're not really contesting the cart at this point. Splinter are doing a good job to keep everyone away from the cart by just providing overall damage to make them hide so they don't lose their lives. And they've got a lot of time left. They weren't nearly as far last time.
No, this is big.
Everyone heal up.
Oh, we've got 2 fights occurring here. One on the cart, one in the back line. And 30 goes down in the back line as Splinter's trying to take down Crystallize.
Yeah, 30
As
never
Tree
got that
goes
ult
down.
off. Now Splinter's dead as well. There's no DPS available for Bone Zone, and they're going to kind of committed to pushing this card as far as Sadistic will give it to them. But they're going to end up getting mopped here. Slowly but surely, but maybe they're
Bol
going to get a few
pops
picks
an ult to take down 1 healer and 1 damage dealer, but they've got 2 healers on the opposite side.
Oh. And we see 30 pops the tactical visor. He gets a really late nano boost there. He's dodging the hook, but I don't think he's going to get any picks there. That's 2 ults kind of wasted. But they have started moving the card again. There's still 2 ults on both sides and a few close.
Yeah, Albino Joe's about to get his. Salvo's about to get his on the opposite side.
Oh, Jim with a nice big hammer down into a 3-man Albino blow. But now New York messes them all right back up, and now Tree puts them all into the Graviton surge, but there is no damage there to follow through. And now Splinter making the first play of his career. Mops up what remains. And Bonezone is pushing back forward.
I don't know if the enemy team can get there in time to actually stop this cart from being pushed the rest of the way.
No, Albino Joe's up there running interference, and this is going to be the furthest we have gone on Route 66 in 3 tries.
Oh, Thrifty gets pinned by Jim. Just running forward and killing a damage dealer before he can even stop the cart from slowing down, even the slightest bit.
So only 2.5 minutes remaining here. That's not a ton of time, so every inch is going to matter here for Bonezone. And UTech does get picked by some stray rocket and salvo. That hurts.
Sadistic Autistic needs to pull this team together.
Oh, and Albino Joe gets hooked too. Now that's a 4v6.
Tree going way back behind the enemy team.
Yeah, Bonezone is
damage.
pretty aggressively, but they get a pick out of Valkyrie.
And his ult, when he comes back, will be at 100%. He can fly in and ult if he needs to.
Yeah, this could actually be really good for Bonezone. I don't know how they got this one, but then they're going to give up 2 picks enough. They take down 2 on the end. And they just keep inching this cart forward between all this. There are so many members of Bonezone.
Ooh, a lot of ults coming up.
Joe doesn't get anybody with that ult, but I don't think he was expecting to. But for how bad that looked, Bonezone pushed that cart.
They pushed
a lot
very
further than
far.
I thought they could. Now they're going to pick on the tree.
Well, as it turns out, if your team members aren't by the cart, it doesn't matter how many of them you're killing. Because the cart will keep pushing. Oh, great ult on a Jim. Oh, take down 2 healers and a tank.
Everyone dead but Tree, who is on the Winston for some reason.
He wants to jump in as the cart gets close to try and stall. As much time as he can.
TK is still trying to man. Now both those disruptors have died, but they did kind of do their job, just trying to buy time on this cart.
Salvo shooting his brains out, actually killing many people before he falls on top of the point. And this cart keeps pushing. Thrifty switches to the Tracer to try and buy as much time as possible, as Tree and Valkyrie are backing him up. Albino Joe just playing a turret on that payload, keeping people close by.
Oh, there's a big rocket barrage. Gets 2 kills before he dies.
And it's a Diva ult that pushes everyone else off the cart.
Complete.
Alright,
For
so
round 1
that's
to end.
27 seconds.
0 to 3.
But they made it all the way.
Switching sides.
And now the pressure is on to Sadistic.
The pressure has to be high to try and push the cart that far that fast.
Yeah, like we said, the first time Sadistic played offense, they almost got stopped at the very first door and didn't even capture the first point. You only have 3 minutes to work with. I mean, that's really, you get maybe 2 big slip-ups, and the season is over.
We're 2-2 though, right? So this is
This
last
is it, yes.
map, the last push.
Unless Sadistic pushes all the way, and then each team gets the second push.
Oh yes, yep.
But once again, the ball is in Sadistic's court.
They have to play flawlessly to get the payload that far.
Yes.
Before engaging
Yes, they
in
do.
rigorous physical activity.
And, you know, when you're in a batting league and you're relying on flawless,
We're batty for a reason.
I don't
And
ever
that
hope for
reason might
flawless
show
on
its
a lot of
ugly head.
teams.
I grow tired of waiting.
So it looks like Bone Zone is set up. They've got a couple members playing forward just to see what everyone's doing, and then maybe pull back once the cart's a little bit closer to the... Oh no, they're just
Yeah,
hopping
they're
back.
going to contest big girls. I mean, this isn't a super uncommon strategy. We've talked about it plenty.
Yeah.
This is what they did the first time they played, and there's not going to be a bastion to catch them off guard. Albino shows up there kind of scouting to make sure there ain't a goddamn
There-
bastion
yeah.
on that cards.
So they're letting them have the first point and kind of running around a little disorganized on the back end. I don't know if they're sure what
I think
they
they just
do
want
for defense.
they just want to be split. They're now starting to lay the poke down onto this carts, just find what they can. I assume we're about to see Jim drop down and contest.
But both teams have very full members. Crystal is the only one that's taking some damage, and he's
Yeah,
healed
watch
up
out.
quickly.
TK Thrifty, though, has made it up onto the big Earls, where he's going to just die to 30. He all takes out someone. There's no DPS available for Sadistic now.
And this, ooh.
Looking like this is going to be a team fight win for Bone Zone as they get 3 kills for 0.
Yeah, they need to regroup behind this corner, and now that the payload's that far away, they're going to have a hard time pushing it.
They do have a Resurrect available to Crystallize, so they kind of get 2 shots at this next fight.
Yeah, 30 the only one on the opposite side with an ultimate. The rest of them are close at 2/3 or 50%. And Splinter takes out
Crystallize goes
Crystallize.
down. That's huge.
Jim runs in, but
Bonezone's kind of pushed this forward, and they're getting picks again.
but they're just losing members.
Heroes never die.
Ooh, the ult comes in, but it doesn't look like it's a... It wasn't a 5v6 or anything with the res coming forward. It's still a solid 66.
Yeah, just more kills and more ult charge for Bone Zone. Really strange ult out of Albino Joe. I didn't see what he saw there. But regardless, we're going into this next fight with going to be 4 ults available for the Bone Zone.
Yeah, I think that was a panic ult out of Albino and Joe, because it was just in place.
No, man,
But that
I've known
charged
Albino
quickly.
Joe for a long time. He's got nerves of steel.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not.
Alright, so TK is jumping onto the cart here, trying to do some basing. There are going to be a lot of ults in this next fight, so be ready for explosions.
Yeah,
And
Thrifty's
Wizard
job here is to
starts
make
things.
sure Albino Joe does not eat his ultimate. If he doesn't eat his ultimate, this might
He
be a
ate
very...
his ultimate.
Oh, he did? Wow.
Bad news, buddy. But Valkyrie and Sexy both going down for Sadistic here. Looking like TK50 going to be short to follow. And now there is only 65 seconds remaining for Sadistic Autistic to make one final push here.
We've seen a lot of people switch on the side of Sadistic Autistic to try and push this point forward, and it just keeps dropping back further and further as time goes on.
They still will have 3 ults for this next fight. If they can get Bol S2, you can get a big Graviton Surge. This game could still turn.
And if they
Bozo
win
can
this
play
fight, they
smart
just
here.
need to never get off the cart.
But Crystallize drops before the fight. That's really big because he was close enough that he would have gotten an ult off in the late stage of this
And
fight.
Salvo does drop, but Ball of Sexy did get his. Tree has his if they want to use those in tandem.
They're looking, but no, Sexy goes down. He's not going to get Graviton Surge off, and now Splinter dropping fire from the skies. Everyone has been zoned off of this
10
card,
seconds
except for
left.
Valkyrie on the Ana.
Thrifty is ulted, and he's just providing some damage and cover fire for his team.
And they're just trying to waste time, but we're in overtime, and that thing is ticking down fast. And
You guys
it's
need to get on the
looking
point.
like after the bad start, they are not able to get hot enough. And Bone Zone going to take the man in Overwatch League Finals 3-2.
With a close reverse sweep almost happening.
Yeah, props to Bone Zone. When you go up 2-0, and then lose 2 straight, that's a really rattling scenario to be in. And our final play of the match of the season going to be Albino Joe on the Devo, which is pretty fitting. He's been getting these all season long, and that one's sexy. The triple kill that turned into it blew Crystallizing Res, and then they just casually killed everyone again, and that turned into them capturing the second points.
So what we saw there is... Did Sadistic Autistic play to
doing my job.
choose to play on the map that they lost on once?
No, that was Bone Zone picked a map that they had lost on, and they
okay.
turned around and won it. So They go for the Game 5 redemption, and it works.
Which, against the reverse sweep, is a pretty ballsy call. So, great season, great plays, a lot of on-point alt skills out of each of these players.
And
But
a
that's
lot
going
of
to be the season.
off-point skills out of all of these players.
Very true.
So, guys, if you've been enjoying all season, we are going to have a playoff plays of the match video coming out sometime, I believe, in the next week. So, if you want to relive all the playoffs at once and catch some good fails of the playoffs, rumor has it the entire Mercy Shore draft is going to just be on there, and I hope it's not true. But I think that's all we got to say. We're not going to do all the interviews and shit we do in the SPL. There's not the storylines for that. But to everyone that's been watching, and especially everyone that's been playing, thank you so much. We're all less shitty than we were a season ago, and I look forward to seeing you guys all back for Daddy Overwatch League Season 3 sometime soon, TM.
Yeah, it's been a great season, great casting, and we'll see you back.